What a Super Bowl. For all of you that were playing Super Bowl boxes and had lost money at the end there, I have zero sympathy for you because your boy won $500 on that 2-point conversion. Holy smokes. Wow. Other than that, pretty boring Super Bowl. Not a very interesting game. Dominant defensive performance. Talk about a running game and a defense really doing a lot of damage throughout an entire season there. So props to the Eagles, winners of Super Bowl. What are we on? 59 right now? Damn. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Boys and girls, this stream powered by BetUS. You guys can head over, get 150% bonus match on your first deposit up to $2,000 with code YouTube150. If you put money on the Chiefs, kick rocks! Kick rocks! Oh, man. Go Birds. I really had I was Team Meteor this entire time, I'll be honest. I don't like that Mekhi Becton got a ring. I like that Saquon got a ring. Not that it really matters. Boys and girls, we're going to be talking a little bit about the Jets news that we heard today. Aaron Rodgers and the Jets parting ways after 2 seasons. Crazy. Absolutely crazy. If you had told me this 2 years ago that this is where the Jets and Rodgers and everything would have been, played out, and Zach Wilson would win more games than Aaron Rodgers during his time, on the team, I would not have believed you in the slightest. By and large, I do think that this is probably the move that makes the most sense. Now, myself, I've been flip-flopping back and forth on this. I've been kind of hoping that Rodgers just retires so we don't have this, he's going to go to Minnesota. He's going to go to the Steelers. He's going to go to the Titans. He's going to go somewhere. He's going to have a good season. Like, I feel like that's probably not outlandish. I don't know if we're a Super Bowl roster with a good Aaron Rodgers next year. I think we have some rebuilding we kind of got to do anyway. And having the cap ramifications cleared, losing the 3rd round pick for Devontae, man, it sucks. The last 2 years have been really, really frustrating as a Jet fan. And how long is this going to take? We see Quinnen Williams already upset that, great, another rebuilding year, thumbs down, that sort of thing. Both Brees and some of the other guys, were interested and wanted Aaron back. I think, you're probably not making too many friends coming in as the new regime right now. But you got to set your tone, and I think it would have been a challenge to have Rodgers around and set a new standard or have a new culture kind of in place without it sort of leaking in from this year to next year. So I think that's sort of the decision they made. I had this feeling this was going to happen since Aaron Glenn was talking about, we haven't talked to the roster yet. We haven't done this or that. Like, he didn't defend Rodgers at all in his presser, which sort of felt like a little bit of a tip that was going to happen. Not to mention, I think most fans probably felt like Woody Johnson was sort of over the Aaron Rodgers experience. And it's sort of hard not to look at, an owner and him not hire a guy that would sort of fall in line with his line of thinking anyway. Not to mention, Darren Muji just came in fresh off a team that cut Russell Wilson on a June 1st option this past year. So just everything kind of makes sense for what the Jets are doing. Quarterback perspective, where do the Jets go? Jets using Jordan Travis and Tyrod Taylor next year? Is that going to be their 1-2 kind of thing they're hitching their wagon to? Are we going to bring in a Justin Fields? Are you looking for some other type of player that could potentially come in here? Are you looking for a draft pick? Do you think there's going to be a player like a Bo Nix that rises up the ranks? Someone like a Jackson Dart or a Jalen Milroe? Insert whatever name you want. McCord, the kid from Syracuse, at some point. I have a hard time wanting to take a quarterback at 7. I think, what are we, 43 or 46? Second round is sort of where I'm keeping an eye on. But let's just jump in and let's talk a little ball. Let's see, where are we going? I'm just going to pick somewhere in the chat. Curly. What is Curly saying? Curly is saying, You think Muji gets Aaron Glenn's coffee order right every day? I mean, dude, it definitely seems like Aaron Glenn is running the show here. Where the freaking New York Jets were built for 4-13. Look, I don't think the Jets were going to win many games with or without Rodgers. You know, I don't know if it would have been over the total we got this year, unfortunately. I do think he was probably the best option as far as having good quarterback play for next season. But I don't know. There's some options out there still. Nick Dow says Fields or Stafford are better than Rodgers. I agree. I wouldn't be opposed to Stafford as a bridge quarterback. I don't know what he's going to cost you from a salary perspective or from a trade perspective, but I would be all right with that. Fields, I like Fields. I don't think he's going to cost a whole lot either. Salah was an a-hole to Mekhi Becton. He didn't coach him well. Glad that Becton straightened himself out. I mean, if he would have said he'd play guard here, I think we would have opened our arms wide for him. Like that, like Mekhi felt like he would have been a better guard once his speed kind of diminished. Big Quinnen deleted his X account. I did see that after the 2 comments he made. Someone probably got on his case and was like, hey, you probably don't want to post that right now. I don't want to see him get traded. I don't want to see the Jets, hemorrhage good young players. I don't see any of that crap. Quinnen should be mad at himself and the defense. Yeah, absolutely. If the defense plays better and they win games last year, this is not an Aaron Rodgers conversation. Aaron Rodgers is back. And we probably have, Salah and Ulbrich and all those guys back too. But they didn't. Defense and offense and, the coaching staff, no one carried weight last year. And they all got tossed because of it. So it is what it is. I thought Blewett had a good response to Quinnen. Burt Wells says Field should be our next quarterback. I agree. I think that would be the route I'd like to go. Players cry on Twitter all the time. What's the difference? Glenn saved them and I'll say they come back up. Yeah, I hope so. We have Rodgers truthers now. Yeah, it's going to happen. I mean, look, how many bad years of quarterback play have we seen? And then you see Aaron Rodgers, who has an electric stat line comparatively to other Jet seasons that we've had. And that's not, I don't think he necessarily had a great season or even a very good season. I think it was good by Jet standards, but a lot of stuff just felt like we weren't either competitive or he couldn't punch it in from a yard out. His lack of mobility definitely hurt. I could see him having a better season next year, additional year removed from the Achilles, but it's probably just the right time for the Jets to move on. We're not in any position to carry his cap. This was absolutely the right move. It fixes everything a lot earlier, so I'm okay with it. It's just a matter of locking everyone else down. Fields Taylor combo draft a rookie. I would draft a rookie next year. I don't know if I'm on the rookie train this year. I mean, I shouldn't say that. I'd be open to it. I like Will Howard. I like McCord. I like Milroe. I feel comfortable enough taking someone in the second, I think, and just getting the best blue chipper you can in the first. Because I think if you go with a quarterback in the second, you don't necessarily impede yourself from going quarterback in 2026 if a quarterback presents himself. Blitz Crew, Aaron Rodgers retiring or Jets moving on or both? I think Rodgers plays, Jets move on, and that's how it goes. I mean, I'd like to see him retire just because I don't feel like seeing him do well, but I think that's probably what we're gonna see. Michael says, Ryan, 50-year Jets fan. Oh, the pain. Mekhi Becton is a Super Bowl champion. Happy for him. Look, I'll be honest. I did not like Mekhi the last little bit here. I thought he was a little bit of a crybaby bitch, and I was hoping he wasn't going to get a ring. But I like Saquon Barkley, and I kind of liked a little bit of a jab that it kind of gave the Giant fans, which I really don't have any hate towards the Giants either. I just would have liked to have seen. I like Barkley. I'm a big running back guy. Plus, he's a Jet fan. But as far as Mekhi, I don't really care. Josh, we should go after Justin Fields, Hendon Hooker, or Joe Milton. Joe Milton's not going to get traded from the Patriots to the Jets. I don't see that happening. Hendon Hooker, if we did go after him, I would be fine because we have guys in the building that at least know where he stands. And then as far as Justin Fields, you guys know my thoughts on him. I would like to see him come in. Cameron asking, just chatting or are we calling in today? We're going to just chat tonight, and then I'll do my call-in show tomorrow. So we'll talk more tomorrow. I want to get your guys' thoughts on all that. George, Jets draft Gabriel, Ward, Milroe, Howard. I'm good with that. Don't draft Dart. Yeah, I'm George. I'm on board. Give me second or third round quarterback. One of those, any of those names, I would be pretty happy with. I would add McCord to the list too. But yeah, any one of those guys, Ward's not going to make it that far, and honestly, Milroe probably goes first round. But I think Gabriel and Howard could both be there in the second. Pay the young good core, or keep Rodgers and friends. It's never even a hard choice. I don't know if it necessarily would have prevented you from keeping them, but now you definitely can. So look, I'm happy. Jacob, love to see the Chiefs lose. Yeah, no, it felt good. Felt good to see that. Don't understand being upset over a 5-win season and thinking Rodgers will get you to the playoffs next year. Yeah, look, put it this way. I think the Jets should have been able to make the playoffs had we hit the kicks, had we had competent coaching, and had Tyron Smith not been our starting left tackle for the majority of the season. So do I think the Jets could have made the playoffs next year? I think next year's schedule is way harder, but I think it was within the realm of possibility. Now I think it's probably a little bit more far-fetched. T-Money says draft Will Howard. If he sucks, go for a quarterback in 2023 class. Yep. I'm on board, T-Money. I'm good with that. Rodgers, bring Hackett with him, so pass. Yeah, I don't think, even if you brought him back, I don't think that was going to happen. McMillan at 7 is still available. Yeah, McMillan's my guy. That's who I want at 7. That's the move. I don't see the Rams trading Stafford. Look at how close they came to beating the Eagles. Yeah, but I could totally see them moving on and signing Sam Darnold. Like, I could see that scenario. I don't know if the Rams are necessarily... Well, look, I guess if they almost won the Super Bowl, or almost got, beyond the Eagles, I don't know. It wouldn't shock... Put it this way. It wouldn't shock me if Stafford got moved, or if he retired, or if he came back. I could see any one of those 3 scenarios. Wentz to the Jets. Sure. Fine. I don't care. I don't know if he's your long-term. He would be sort of like a pseudo Fields situation to me, where I'm not like banking on Fields being the guy. Hennessy at least 77 earned his ring. Huff watched like us. Yeah, that's true. We wanted a guy to come in and lead. Now fans mad. Yeah, look, people get upset whenever like big change happens, and that's Aaron Glenn coming in, moving off Aaron Rodgers. We don't have the quarterback. What are you gonna do? People are gonna complain left, right, and sideways. No matter what we do, there's gonna be half the fan base is gonna be like, "That's a great move," and half the fan base is gonna bitch and moan. So it is what it is. He was moving the wrong way. It was Becton, not AVT, that had to move. Yeah. Agreed. Joe the Jet G says, this is going to be an ugly rebuild. It depends if we have to trade a bunch of guys. I hope we don't have to trade guys. I hope we keep our guys around. Jess says, I think the quarterback from Oregon is a good move for us at this time and the situation. I like the idea of maybe Baker Mayfield. Well, Baker Mayfield's not going anywhere. He signed a contract, I'm pretty sure. I would love Baker. Baker is my guy. But if that's what... or maybe you're comparing the Oregon kid, Gabriel, to him, I'd be down. SW, 28 touchdowns, 11 interceptions would have gotten the Jets into the postseason the prior 2 seasons. Yeah, if we had a stout defense, a kicker, and like a halfway competent coaching staff, I think we definitely make the playoffs. We were like a razor thin line on like playoffs versus not. When you think about like, okay, the 4th down, 4 downs we had in the Denver game on the 1-yard line, the interceptions versus the Vikings, which, to be fair, were Rodgers' fault. Missed kicks by Zerline in multiple games. Jets were not that far off from being a playoff team. So I agree with all of that. NYC Superfan, it would be Jets thing if Tyrod goes 9-8 next year. Yeah, it totally would. But that's okay. I want to win as many games as possible next year, and then I'm cool trading up for whatever quarterback, if that's what you want to do. I'm not in the let's tank bandwagon for next season. Blitz Crew. We trade Devontae. What can we get for him? We can't get anything. We're gonna cut him. There's no any team that sees that contract. The Jets are just gonna say, all right, we're not getting anything for him. I would be absolutely stunned if we could move anything. Cameron, I wouldn't touch the quarterback class this year. I'd focus completely on building the roster and go heavy after a high draft pick next year when the quarterback class is expected to be top tier. Yeah, I think you sort of lean on your scouts. The third round is sort of... I could understand not going in on a quarterback this year. I think you do owe it to the team to try and get a quarterback you feel you could build around. So Fields is that. Like, I think you could sell the team on going in on Fields and saying, this could be the guy for the next few years. We're going to give him and Jordan Travis a shot, and you could sell that to some guys. I'm not opposed to taking a quarterback, though. I would say second round and beyond would be when I'd feel comfortable doing it, because I do want to have the option of going quarterback in 2026 and not feel like we've burnt a huge asset in this draft. The second round pick, it would be a big one, though. You should have 3 starters from your first 3 picks, ideally. But I would understand if they went quarterback there. Braden Mann got a ring, too. And Huff. I would draft McCord in the 3rd if he's still available. Yeah, if you can if there's a guy you could identify for that late 3rd round pick, that's probably where you'd want to target the quarterback. The 2nd round is still a very strong possibility of a starter. 3rd round, you probably have to shift a position to like find a linebacker, a safety, a guard. I don't know. I don't think I'd be trading up and down for guys, but if there was a quarterback I liked at one of our picks, I would be fine with them taking him. Can we afford both Quincy and Sherwood? Quincy's under contract for this year. Sherwood's a free agent. I don't think Sherwood's coming back. I think Sherwood's going to follow Ulbrich or Salah. Mudviles, Ryan, I'm in the middle of the Rodgers move. I hope either Travis plays well or we get Dart or Ward. Also, Mahomes' garbage touchdown cost me $1,000. He finds ways to piss me off. Mudviles, I hate to break it to you, but you getting cost $1,000 won this dude $500. A 2-point conversion and touchdown. Oh man, it was so funny because I ran the pool for my work, just like, whatever, and the girl that was winning, I was like, oh man, she's gonna be pumped. She's gonna get this. And then like I saw the touchdown, I was like, oh man, she's gonna be pissed. I don't even know who won, but like she's gonna be real mad. And I looked at it, I was like, oh, Becca. Oh, man. Hell yeah. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. Eagles were too physical for the Chiefs to handle. Yeah, no, Eagles smacked the shit out of them. It's kind of nice to see. Trey, how do you think the Jets brass spins this to the fans as to try and win next year? I mean, I think it's a culture reset. I think you understood when you were bringing in Rodgers, whenever that experiment was going to end, you were going to have to deal with the cap ramifications of it. And I think that's just being honest. I think you look at the Broncos and you say, hey, look, our GM is from the Broncos. They drafted a young quarterback. They got to the playoffs. I think you can absolutely turn this around quickly. Look at the Commanders. Commanders got the right quarterback, got the right guy, and all of a sudden they're getting, deep in the playoffs. So I think you can absolutely be all right with spinning this to a team. I think it's going to take some time and you got to prove it, but I don't think this team deserves any of the benefit of the doubt. I think you just sort of let them prove it. Blitz. If going Fields, need to sign him early to set up our game plan. Need defensive tackle, cornerback, safety, offensive tackle, linebacker, kicker, quarterback. Need best available for these multiple holes. Yeah. I think you definitely need to target those guys. There's 2 defensive tackles, one from Denver, one from Detroit, that I think they'll target in free agency. I would like to bring back Eccles. I don't know if that's going to happen. Safety, I do think we actually invest pretty heavily in that. I'd have to look at the safety list of who's going to be there. I still want Jedrick Wills as tackle. If not, I'm cool with drafting a dude and bringing back Moses. Again, I don't know if Moses wants to come back if we're kind of potentially punting on next season. Linebacker, maybe you can mitigate that from running a 2 linebacker set. I'm kind of okay with the defense being a little underwhelming next year. If it means you're kind of building an environment for the quarterback to have success. Like I want Tet McMillan in the first. I would like a tight end at the top of the second. If you want to take the quarterback or an offensive lineman in the third, basically just build your team as best you can for the success of the quarterbacks this year, whether it be Fields or Travis or Tyrod for that matter, or for the quarterback you add in 2026. So I like a lot of different ones there. Julian, what do you think of trading for McKee or Jackson Dart? I would totally be down on McKee. I don't know what McKee would cost you. I don't think it's a whole lot. I liked him coming out last year. I'm a big fan. With Rodgers and Adams, we could have gone 100% defense in this draft, free agency, and made the playoffs this year. Yeah, but like, you might also have Rodgers like suck, so that's possible. I wouldn't be so quick to draft a quarterback round 2 just out of need. It can set a franchise back, commit to the wrong guy. Would rather build a new foundation with Tyrod and Fields and draft a quarterback next year. Yeah, no, I'm fine with that. I'm not saying draft a guy just to draft a guy. I'm saying if you like a guy and you want to take him in the second round, I don't think I like a guy enough in the first. If you like a guy enough he feels like is going to be there for a third, on board. Yeah, I'm good with that. If the Steelers sign Fields, what is the plan? Do you think Fields signs there? That's more my question. If Tomlin already passed over Fields for Russ in like crunch time, does Fields want to go back there? I feel like he'd rather play with Garrett and Ruckert again at a chance to like really have success in New York and be the long-term answer than go back to Pittsburgh where he was passed over. Just my thoughts. Devontae for Kupp straight up. I mean, I would definitely do that. I don't think it's going to happen. I think Devontae is definitely going to get cut, and I think he's going to go back to. He's either going to follow Rodgers or he's going to go to Green Bay. I think. Anthony says, I think the Jets will draft a quarterback in the second round. Look at the Eagles with Hurts. Yeah, and the second round, like, as much as it'd be like, oh, I want to get a tight end in the second round, if you hit on the quarterback in the second round, you could. Who gives a shit about the tight end? There's so many tight ends in this class. I'm sure you could find one in the third. If best player available is Will Johnson, I don't want him. It depends who else is on the board and what other direction you'd want to go. I would understand Malachi Starks. I wouldn't be upset with Will Johnson. I think he's a stud, but I feel like that almost pushes Sauce out. I'm hoping Will Johnson is not what we're forced into. I really want McMillan a lot. That's my guy I'm hitching my wagon to this year. But I am happy to get any blue chipper. Some fans forgot to put their seatbelts on, I see. Yeah, no. We were ready. Some of us were. Had to expect Starks to go, or had to expect Rodgers to possibly not come back. It was always a possibility. Maybe Mason Rudolph is next year Sam Darnold. I'd let someone else take that chance. I don't like Mason Rudolph. Can't Adams redo his contract since there's no guarantees or bonuses? Yeah, he could, but why would he? If I were him, I would want to get cut and pick where I go. Trading away a third for Adams just to release him sucks. Shake my head. Yeah. Yep. That's exactly where I stand on this. I was I shouldn't say I was disappointed in the Devontae trade. I wanted it to happen, but not then. I think, unfortunately, everything happened later than it needed to. And I don't know what the cost difference was between getting him for a third-round pick, near the deadline versus getting him, during training camp. How much more would you have had to give up? Because it probably would have been worth it. Or maybe not. Maybe Rodgers would have sucked, Tyron Smith would have blown, and they would have just been miserable either way. But losing a third-round pick for Devontae just to have him walk at the end of the season stings. But you sort of sign up for that when you go all in on a season. Greg, I just didn't want to see KC win again. Yep, that's where I was. Pull the Rodgers tape in Buffalo. That's all you need to see. In Buffalo. That would have been the final week of the season? Second last week of the season? Is that what it was? Third to last week? I think with the new regime, we got to get ready to come draft time when it comes to players and trades. We got to be ready for anything. Oh, yeah, no, 100%. We don't know how this is going to work out. Like, historically, we have not been very good on trades, and Douglas was something that he was very good at. Draft day trades, maybe a little less so. AVT for 2 third-round picks is maybe less than ideal at this point. JT, damn, that worthy touchdown at the end lost me lost me 1K too. My buddy's friend lost 10 grand. He's like, I'm gonna go on a baby punching rampage. He was so pissed. He was so mad. Oh, that's terrible. Bino. Travis is a pipe dream. Multiple setbacks and a new regime that didn't draft him. He's such a long shot, even to be able to walk right, let alone NFL football. Yeah, you cannot bank on Jordan Travis being the guy. Cannot do that. That is a prime way to have that just implode. Jerome, is Shea ready to play quarterback? Damn right. She'll be ready. She'll be ready. The Broncos have Sean Payton. We have a 5'9" former Jets cornerback. 5'9" former Jets quarterback. That's all right. We can win. We got it. We got it. No concern. No concern. Zachary, we may go a lot of low-cost vets in free agency. I think that's how we should go. Honestly, I think that's how free agency should generally go. I think you should pay the guys that you have in-house that you know are working in your system, as opposed to bringing in outside guys who have not been in your system, who may not be able to play in that system, and then overpay them. So I do not want them to overpay for stuff. Joshua, Dylan Gabriel should be a prospect we consider. Dan Lanning, the quarterback whisperer. I like Gabriel. I like Will Howard. I like McCord. I like Milroe. I feel like I'm missing a name in there somewhere. I like a few guys. Second or third would be where I'd be kind of tempted at going quarterback. Kirk Cousins trade is high risk, high reward. I don't want to trade for Cousins. We just did the Achilles injury. I'm not doing it again. Is Kyle Pitts a free agent? I don't think he's a free agent. I think he's available on the trade market, though. It sounds like I think he's available. I'm pretty sure that's what I heard. If the Dolphins in Week 18 did the same thing Buffalo did to us in Buffalo, the whole fan base would be celebrating like we won a Super Bowl right now. If the Dolphins in Week 18 did the same thing Buffalo did to us in Buffalo, the whole fan base would be cheering. Oh, yeah, to get rid of Rodgers. Watching this game has me thinking a Justin Fields-led team with a dominant defense wouldn't be the worst idea. No, not at all. I like Fields a lot, and I feel like him and Brees and Braylon with like a stout offensive line that wants to bully people, and then you pick your shots. Allow him to air the ball out. Fields has plenty enough strong arm. I would be fine with this. I like the Justin Fields route personally. If you guys watched my mock offseason, if Rodgers was not here, that's the route I went with Justin Fields. Julio says, Tyrod will start and trade for Hendon Hooker. Jets will be a heavy run and aggressive defense team. Brees will have a bounce-back season. Yeah, I would say I agree with that thought process, because I don't think Hendon Hooker is going to cost you a whole heck of a lot. He's got 2 years left on his rookie contract. I would prefer we go Fields than Hooker, but if they feel like he knows the offense and he provides them, some degree of upside that like maybe Fields doesn't, I'd be cool with that. Tell Coin Fit. Ryan, thoughts on Kendrick's performance? I am a big Not Like Us supporter. I very much like that song. I would say, so overall, as a Super Bowl halftime performance, I'd probably give it a 3 out of 10. Like, I don't think it was a great overall performance, but from like a historic diss track of like an entire stadium at the biggest stage worldwide, calling Drake a pedophile and like singing A minor, then ending it on make him turn his TV off and it says game over in the stands with lights. Like, I'm sorry, that that is a mic drop moment if I have ever seen one in hip hop. Like, that was, he put Drake in a body bag, first and foremost. As far as like performance wise and like I don't think rap is great for halftime shows. I don't think it comes across as clear as like maybe more of a pop or, you know, I guess country or rock or anything like that. My favorite halftime show that I've seen in, I don't even know if it's recent years, like 10 years ago now, whenever the Bruno Mars one I thought was really good a bunch of years ago. I thought Kendrick was fine. I really liked Not Like Us. Thought that was fun. I enjoyed it. Joe says, stupid move letting Rodgers go. See you in 3 years to start the rebuild again. No, rebuild starts now. Don't see me in 3 years. Rebuild starts now. We're fine. We got this. Glass half full, baby. SW Lion, find me someone who is good in play action and is accurate. Mason Rudolph would be my choice. He's very low risk, high reward signing. Yeah, but he just like, I'm pretty sure, wasn't he accused of dropping the N-bomb on Myles Garrett and like whipping his helmet? Like, I don't know, dude. I don't know if that's the guy you want leading your team. I would rather go with Fields. I think Fields is like a gritty dude. I remember watching that playoff game with him versus Trevor Lawrence, and like it was just like a valiant fighting effort from Fields. He feels like the gritty guy a defense could really get behind, and a running game would be electric with him. You know, you'd have to put up with the frustrating, you know, wide left passes and things like that with him, but we've had such bad quarterback play. I think I could deal with one more season of it. John says, if by some miracle Shedeur Sanders drops to 7th, would we take him? I hope not. I don't really want to go that route. I do hope he's kind of gone to the Giants at 3. And I don't know if Dion would let him play for us anyway. Give me Jameis Winston. I like Jameis. I don't think he's leaving Cleveland, though. Unless he goes to the Giants, which is where I think, was it Saquon that was telling him that at the Super Bowl? We're riding the poverty coaster. Yeah, that's about right. Jackson Dart reminds me a lot of Josh Allen. I don't see that. He's an exciting player. If they drafted him, it would be a very boom or bust pick. I just think you're going to have to take him at 7, and I don't really want to see them do that. If Glenn follows the Lions example, he will fix both the defensive and offensive lines. Well, the offensive line, I feel like, is kind of right there. So I agree with you on that. I think he can bring in one of the interior defensive guys from either Denver or Detroit. There's one defensive free agent, like interior D lineman from both those teams that's going to hit free agency. So I do think they try to target those two guys. And if you just get the right tackle, I think you've sort of shored up both of them. Now you want to create a pipeline after that. So, you know, whether it's drafting depth on the D line or drafting depth on the offensive line, I do hope that's how they build their team. Because when you have a good offensive line, it makes everything else just so much easier. Milroe in the 2nd round, man, that would be electric. I think he's going to go earlier than that, but he is an electric player. He's the player that has a special skill set of any of the players in this draft that like you can't teach. That's just a wild. He's crazy fast. I wouldn't hate it. Rick Spielman loves Jackson Dart, comped him to J.J. McCarthy. That feels weird. I don't understand that comp. I'd probably need a little more. Jackson Dart. I'm thinking Milroe. I was like, wow. That doesn't make any sense. Jackson Dart, we probably saw more throwing than we did of JJ. JJ was more of like a play within the system and take your shots when you could while he was at Michigan. We really blew the last 2 years, Anthony. Yep, we absolutely did. Look, you can't blame it all on us. It's you put a lot of faith in Rodgers. That Achilles snapping was just the worst. Probably one of my lowest all-time like fan moments. Billy is upset. He says, I'm sorry, but this rookie staff is showing me right out of the box that they don't know what they're doing. No, you know what? I think this is very much out of the Bill Parcells playbook, where he comes in, he says, I'm cutting someone you guys may either look up to, like, I'm the guy. Like, Glenn coming in here and saying, Rodgers isn't here, I'm the guy, is very much a power move. I think that is part of it. I think the money also had a lot to play with it. Zachary even says, look, I heard this is like a Bill Parcells move. It absolutely is. This is 100% a Bill Parcells type move. I think Fields is our best option going forward, and 𝐂𝐟𝐿 is definitely an option at 7. That's exactly who I want. Jets need wide receiver in the worst way, and I think Tet is the best one in the bunch this year. Jacob, I almost got $3,000. Just needed Saquon to get a 30-yard touchdown run or a McDuffie to get a pick. Oof. I won $500. I'm happy. Jets are in full Denver blueprint now. Yes, 100%. 100%. It'd be wacky if we went with another Oregon quarterback, just like they did with Bo Nix over in Denver. Could totally see that. Uncle Rico for quarterback from Napoleon Dynamite. Prestige, I'm just going to keep it real with you, man. I'd have way more confidence in 2026 prospect at quarterback compared to 2025. Yeah, I think a lot of fans kind of feel that way. The Beaver, or that Beaver, trade for Baker. He's the solution. Prove me wrong. Is he even available? I mean, yes, if Baker's available, 110% yes. I very much want Baker. You go back to that draft, Baker was my guy. I wanted Baker in the worst way. Do we know if Baker's actually available? I don't think he is. G-Money, Drake won. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Didn't Kendrick just win like 5 Grammys for that song? I'm sorry, there's no world where Drake wins. No shot. Hunter, I know Tyrod won't stay healthy, but remembering his 2015 season gives me hope. Bad team in Buffalo and had a number comparable to Lamar Jackson's in 2023. Google it. I did not realize that. I don't think Tyrod is the Tyrod from 10 years ago at this point. I do like him. I'm fine with him being the bridge quarterback. I would like to see some hope outside of that, whether it's Fields or another young quarterback. Sam, it's a culture move. If A-Rod was not cut, Glenn would never get control of this organization. You'd have to wait a year, and then the damage might already be done. So I agree with that. London says, Kyle from Syracuse University or Justin. Yeah, I like McCord a lot. McCord or Fields are two really attractive options for me because I don't think you have to put that much into either one of them. Joshua, Jalen Milroe could work, but you'd have to have an offense that suits him like the Ravens did for Lamar Jackson. Lamar was such a better passer coming out of Louisville, though. Lamar was deadly accurate, and he was plagued by a ton of drops by his Louisville receivers. So I don't really agree in that sense. I think Jalen Milroe is definitely not the quarterback that Lamar Jackson is, but if he can be a quarterback like Jalen Hurts, even if he's got to sit for a year, I think he's totally worth it. The dude's built like a friggin' WWE star. Like, guy's shredded. Julio, call me crazy. I'm a Bulldogs fan. Loved watching Stetson Bennett, a leader and succeeding in the SEC. He'd be high in this draft class. Where's he at? Weege. What's up, Weege? They extended him. Yeah, Baker, they extended him. That's what I thought. No way he gets traded. Okay, I'm not wrong on this one. I was going to say, I was like, Baker, not to mention, like, Todd Bowles traded up to number 3 when he was the Jets quarterback to draft Baker Mayfield. And now he's got him in Tampa. There's no way he's trading him. Yeah, okay. God, I thought I was going crazy for a second there. Prestige, can we stop lying to ourselves and acting like Howard, Gabriel, McCord, or anyone else in this draft has a realistic shot of being the Jets franchise quarterback in 2026 is a better bet? Yeah, but for any of these names that we're talking about here, you're not talking about investing a premium pick. You're talking like, I think most fans are thinking at the earliest second round and probably third round at that. And at that point, I would rather take the swing and have some hope that he might. In worst case scenario, you've lost out on like a third round pick player that was a raffle ticket anyway. You know, you have to like the guy. I'm not saying just draft a guy to draft a guy, but I think those three players in particular are interesting enough to warrant that swing. Let's get a gunslinger like Jameis, Winston. Is William his middle name? I mean, I just want to be entertained. I'm team like just entertain me next year. I'm rooting for wins, but I'm not optimistic for wins. You can't have your quarterback telling the young guys that the head coach is wrong. Don't listen to them. Yeah, no, 100%. I think you're right. I think this is a culture move for the Jets. Hennessy, we weren't going anywhere with Rodgers. Newsflash. Yeah, he was just a bridge quarterback. Anyone that thought he was more than a bridge, like outside of like maybe a one and done, like get into the playoffs and, you know, hope and pray, I don't think we were winning the Super Bowl with him. So there's that. If you don't give your first choice for the gig some accommodations, they'll go work for a different team. I don't think I understand what that means. Tyrod Taylor will throw to the open man, not just his buddies. Yeah, I really like Tyrod. I could totally see, if Tyrod stays healthy, I could totally see him leading us to a playoff berth. I think next year's schedule is going to be our biggest impact right now. And I think our defense is going to take another step back. If you're going to draft any quarterback in this class, you might as well start Jordan Travis, because no quarterback after Sanders' award is worth a second or third. They're a mid, fourth, fifth rounders. I disagree with that, but I understand where you're coming from with it. Michael, do you think this will cool down some of the GOAT Mahomes talk? It's hard to win 4 or 5 or 6 Super Bowls. I mean, I don't think anyone's ever going to beat what Brady does. I would just be very, very surprised. Why not Adrian Martinez? Because he's look, I mean, you're going to go into camp. Is he going to be more than a practice squad guy? I doubt it. The happiest year recently I had as a fan was Gase's last year because I legitimately didn't watch. Feels like part 2 of that is upcoming. We had I watched that entire season. I thought we were getting Trevor Lawrence, and when fucking Braden Mann tackled the kick returner against the Rams, I was distraught. They actually put me on Jacksonville radio. They're like, this poor bastard up in New Jersey is pulling his hair out because he just watched his Jets suck all season just to win a game versus this. Did the Rams win the Super Bowl that year? Was it that year? Or was it maybe it's a year or two later? Whatever it was. Ridiculous. What are you watching with Fields that makes you think it's a good choice? I think he's going to be cheap. I think that's ultimately what it is. Cheap, young, leadership. That's about it. As far as quarterback stuff goes, if you want to draft one, that's fine. I just would not endorse it in the first round. Brian, if you're going to trade up for one of these guys in the draft, I would rather give picks to the Vikings and get Sam back on the Jets. I think Sam's just going to walk. I guess they could franchise tag and trade him. I don't think you trade for Sam back. I think that would be a surprising thing to see. I don't want to trade up. I don't want to go second round into the first round for any quarterback in this draft. I want to be very clear on that too for you guys. Hunter, I think giving our offensive coordinator a year with a vet to establish his identity would give our 2026 quarterback a better chance of success off the bat. Build staff before drafting. So I really like that our OC, Tanner Engstrand, has called plays for 8 years prior to this time. It just hasn't Sorry, hasn't been in the NFL. Joshua, Hurts, Lamar, Josh Allen weren't considered polished passers coming out of college, but they improved. Milroe can improve as a passer while being a dynamic runner in the NFL. I've been saying this now for it's got to be 4 months at this point. I really like Milroe. When I watch him, he just does everything different, and he puts so much stress on a team. If you could figure out the passing side of the game with him, I feel like he's 100% the pick. The small hands is concerning. Sub 9-inch hands is never good. T-Money, Will Howard has the size, speed, arm, take a flyer in the third. Yeah, that you kind of have to hit some traits, like there's I guess standard deviations, right? Like certain heights, certain weights, certain arm strengths we tend to see success in. It doesn't mean you're going to have success with that player. It's just when you go with like a Milroe who maybe has a smaller hand size, that generally doesn't translate well. Kenny Pickett had an 8.5-inch hand size, and he fumbled the ball like crazy at Pitt and in Pittsburgh. So I think the traits are important. Jack, thank you so much for the super chat. If I see your comment pop up in the chat, I'll throw it on the screen. I don't see it attached to this super chat, but greatly appreciate all the same. T-Real. Question. Since we cut Aaron Rodgers, do you think we should really be targeting quarterback in the draft in the first 2 rounds? I don't really want to target one in the first, I'll be honest. If they feel like they like a guy enough, I guess I would prefer. Oh God, man, I really would rather go best player available at 7 and then consider quarterback in the 2nd or 3rd. That would be like an at best case scenario for me. Julio, I'd take Gabriel over Milroe. That's fine. You know, I'd sign up for that. I don't think you have to spend. I think Milroe's going to go in the 1st. Ultimately, I think he'll probably go the tail end of the 1st, so he's probably not going to be an option for the Jets. Gabriel, and I don't know where he goes. If he ideally 3rd round would probably be where I'd want to get a quarterback. But I'm fine if they pull it in the 2nd round. Jack, how we looking next season? Not great. It's going to be rough. We got a hard schedule next year. We're losing a bunch of key veteran players. It's going to be a whole regime change. So you could see a spark of enthusiasm from a new regime for sure. A little bit of juice. I think you started to see a little bit more of a disgruntled Sauce, a disgruntled Garrett, a disgruntled Brees this year. If you could find ways to utilize your playmakers and shoot some juice into the arm of these players, I'm all for it. And that might be drafting a quarterback. It might be. And we've brought up a few in this chat. Gabriel from Oregon, McCord from Syracuse, Howard from Ohio State, Fields as a free agent, Milroe, Alabama would be electric. I don't think he makes it to you in the 2nd. I think some team earlier than us would probably pull the trigger on him. Justin Fields, Jameis, Sam, nobody else rings my bell. I don't care about them. Hey, I'd be happy with any one of those guys. I don't know if anyone. Well, Sam, I guess in theory could be your quarterback moving forward, but I don't think he comes back. I think he goes to LA. Put some respect on his name. Braden Mann is a Super Bowl winner now. Yeah, bite me. Sorry, I'm still sour on that tackle. Not that it would have really changed much, but yeah, I don't know. 2020 class has 3 champs today. Man, Becton, and Huff. Oof. Woof. Sam Darnold's return to the Jets is just unrealistic. Look, I really like Sam. I thought Sam, the guy, I just wanted him to work out. If he can have a season like he did now, I'd be on board. The last 2 games were painful. He cost himself a bunch of money. Cashmere, Fields might give us that edge our offense didn't have with A-Rod, but better decision maker than Zach. Yeah, I like the Fields route. I think it puts a lot of stress on the defense with a running quarterback. I think we've seen with Jalen Hurts, like what was he, 15 of 20, I think, for tonight? That is more than enough. Justin Fields could totally do 15 of 20. Totally do that. Milroe, a.k.a. Lamar 2.0 in a few years or bust. I mean, Milroe is the type, I feel like he's a boom or bust prospect. Like wow, this could really be explosive and you could have your Lamar type quarterback for the next 10 years. Or he could be like a Anthony Richardson and just flame out like pretty quickly. Prestige, Ryan, my problem with Milroe was a generally terrible passer. Was there really anyone better to learn from than Rodgers in this case? I feel like the personality of Rodgers was the biggest hurdle here. Not the player. Like if you had the skill and if you could take Rodgers' skill and just swap out his personality for like Josh McCown, like he'd still be a Jet. 100%. Did Woody Johnson post about new uniforms yet? No, but I would put money down that we're going to get the Kelly Green, Aaron Glenn rookie jersey as our alternate this year. I'd put money on it. There have been a couple. There have been examples of high pick quarterbacks who have faltered with their first team, resurrecting their career on their second or third team. That's what you hope for in Fields, Mayfield, or Darnold. Well, Mayfield's not leaving. He's already resurrected his career. Fields, yes. Darnold, I don't think comes back here. I would be very surprised if that happened. Milroe reminds me more of Hurts, honestly. Yes, I agree. Glenn and Mooj pulling rug today. Yeah, people pissed. Gabriel's 5'10", left-handed quarterback, that hard to work with. I always wondered how much like the left-handed thing is actually an issue. I know it's the left tackle, right tackle kind of a thing, but I don't know. Tankathon now has Dart over Milroe. That doesn't surprise me. Dart's going to get a ton of hype coming in to the draft. Stanley thinks Gabriel won't even be drafted. No way. Really? Yeah, take him late then. So Micah Parsons is for sale. Trade for him, sign Fields, and we're cooking. How much are you going to have to give for Parsons, though? You're going to have to give up at least like a first and a third for him. There's no way you're getting him. I bet the Eagles cut Huff. That wouldn't surprise me at all. I mean, he did nothing this entire season. Gabriel is way better than Milroe, and Dart, hope you watch some of his games. Yeah, I mean, I watched him a bit at the Senior Bowl, and he looked pretty good. I've heard great things about him. It's honestly the size that I think people wind up being concerned about. Prestige. Ryan, honestly, this decision to move on from Rodgers and Adams too is either going to be the greatest decision that it's ever made, or it could also absolutely destroy the franchise beyond repair. No, I don't think so. I think, look, I think if you ran it back with Devontae and Rodgers and it like nuked the culture for this new regime and you got the same results as this past year, would have been worse than ripping the Band-Aid off of these two guys now and just trying to reset everything entirely. I would say I disagree with your assessment here. Y'all think Milroe is a better prospect than Fields is or can be? I think Milroe is way faster. Fields is just way cheaper from an investment standpoint. You could probably get Fields for like $5 to $10 million on a 1-year deal, where Milroe, you're probably either going to have to trade up from your second round pick to go get him or take him in the first. And that's That is a heavy investment. So there's less risk with Fields. But Milroe probably has a higher ceiling, being that we haven't seen him in the NFL yet. Wasn't Justin Fields doing well for the Steelers? Then Tomlin took him out for some reason. The team record was really good. My understanding is the defense is just insanely good, incredibly well coached, and Fields was sort of the vehicle that got them to where they needed to be, where Russ was able to install more of like a passing aspect to the offense. So I don't know. I think there's something when Tomlin moves off Fields, I think you should probably take a look at that and say, that's not great. But that being said, the Steelers have been pretty terrible at the quarterback thing since Big Ben. So maybe they don't really know what they're doing in terms of quarterback. T-Real says Fields is better than Milroe. I think Milroe is just the unknown with a cheap 5-year contract. It's just it's a high investment to get him. Tony says, if you want a bridge quarterback, look Thompson, Howell, Levis, Hooker. If Glenn wants him, Mordecai from 49ers practice squad or draft Show from Louisville, at least they have rookie deals. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to go an expensive option here. Tigo, what's up, dude? Says left-handed quarterback is actually harder on the pass catchers. Ball spins the opposite direction. Catching becomes totally different. I have heard that. It's weird that that's as big of a problem as I've heard it chalked up to be. 5'10" quarterback is a non-starter. Come on. Let's see. Fields is 4-0 and moving the chains. I like the idea of a running quarterback. Like I think that's probably why Milroe is attractive to me. The strain it puts on a defense, and it's fun. It's a good time. And he's got a howitzer for an arm. So if can he hit the deep ball and whatnot? I don't know. I'd be on board with it. Fuck it. Team entertain me. Joshua says Dillon better than Milroe, Dart, and McCord, but has a much lower ceiling. Yeah, I'm on board with any one of those quarterbacks. I think there's enough of those that's an interesting quarterback that I would be fine with taking whichever one falls to us in the third round. You got to think one of those guys would eventually be there. Will Howard included in that conversation. I think Justin Fields can turn into our Sam Darnold in Minnesota. Yes, I think so too. I think belief in a player goes a long way. Building an offense around them goes a long way. I think I would love to see that. JJ says Joe Milton or Tanner McKee. I like Tanner McKee a lot. If there's an option to get Tanner for like a mid to late round pick, I'm on board. I like Joe Milton. I wanted to draft Joe Milton late if Jordan Travis wasn't there. Travis was my first option for like a late round, mid round quarterback, but I like Joe Milton coming out. I had a lot of hate from people that said you should not take Joe Milton. I was like, dude, look at the guy. Look at him go. He's not coming here, though. Gabriel's more NFL ready now than Bryce Young was when he was drafted. I don't know if I buy that. I don't know. Julio, bringing Fields in would make Wilson happy. I sort of project that that's how that would go down. I don't honestly know if that's a fact or not. Would Garrett being the focal point with a worse quarterback be better? Or does he just want to win and then it doesn't really matter about the stats? I want Garrett here long term. I don't want him going anywhere. Stafford to the Steelers. I could totally see that. I could see Stafford to the Vikings too. Like that wouldn't shock me in the slightest. Free agent quarterbacks are horrible. Aaron, still the best option for large Marge. I think he's the best option in terms of like stats you could get, but I don't know if it's conducive towards like a culture. Tego Hooker, the quarterback that Detroit went out, convinced Teddy to stop coaching high school to replace for the playoffs. Hard pass, Hooker ain't it. That's a good point. I'll be honest, I didn't realize when Teddy got to Detroit. So if that was for the playoffs, that probably does speak volumes for Hooker in Detroit. Spot Track has his value at $6.4 million a year. Is that Fields? Is that what we're talking about here? That's kind of what I thought. I thought $5 million, 5 to 10, somewhere in there. Do you believe in Jordan Travis, and why isn't there more updates on him? He's a complete dart throw. Complete dart throw. I would love for him to be the guy. I don't think you bank on him in the slightest, though. I think you have you either draft a quarterback or you bring in a free agent vet and you allow him to maybe compete throughout training camp. I'm not even sure Travis makes the team next year. I know that sounds like a crazy thing to say, but this regime didn't draft him, and he had a gruesome injury. I could totally see a situation where he doesn't make the team. Now, I hope he does, and I hope he balls out, but it's just a gut feeling there. Fuck it. I convinced myself. I'm Team Fields tonight. Good. There we go. I feel like he'd be fun to watch. Give me someone that I could be proud in. Joe B. McMillan at 7. Obvious need at wide receiver now. Look at my drafts. I've been Team McMillan this whole time. I'm very, very Team McMillan. If he goes to the Raiders at 6, I'm going to be kind of pissed. I hope he's there for us at 7. Damn, it's bad when Jet fans are clamoring over Justin Fields. Well, no, I think it's one of those low risk, high reward type guys with a good personality and a skill set similar to the quarterback that just won the Super Bowl in Jalen Hurts. I don't see why there would be any real issue with that. I don't think anyone's claiming that Fields is the franchise-saving quarterback by any stretch of the imagination. I think he's a vehicle to get you to the 2026 draft where you could draft a quarterback if he's not the guy. Courtney says, I don't know. I like Luther Bird in the 3rd. Wide receiver is fine with me at 7. I just want to see a receiver. I see T-Mac on the Pats mocks a lot. Yeah, it kind of depends how the top 3 shakes out, because if it goes Ward, Travis Hunter, or maybe it goes Ward, Abdul Carter after a Myles Garrett trade, Sanders at 3, I could totally see Jordan Travis at 4, and then that's the scenario probably where Tet McMillan either goes 6 or 7 to the Raiders or Jets. Cashmere, we just need a quick decision maker. I'm not really concerned about size. Any size can be a good quarterback. All about upbringing and coaching. Yeah, I want a fast processor. Gotta have a fast processor. How would you rank your top quarterback options? Who's number 1, 2, 3? I'll have to make an actual video on that because there's probably more nuance to that than anything else. And a lot has to do on which quarterbacks are there in the draft. I think you sign someone like a Fields and feel comfortable with like Fields, Travis, and Tyrod going into the draft. And I don't think having Fields on the roster prevents you from drafting a quarterback necessarily, but it allows you to not reach on a quarterback. So there's going to be, I would say Fields is the guy I would kind of hope to sign in free agency and then assess the draft picks and make your, decision accordingly from there. Hunter asking for call-ins. We're going to do call-ins tomorrow. I'm going to do the call-in show tomorrow. Tonight's just going to be a shoot the shit with you guys. I've hit over the hour mark. So real quick, let's go over to BetUS, boys and girls, if you want to get in, head over to BetUS, get 150% bonus on your first deposit up to $2,000 with code YouTube150. These were the odds. If you put money on the Chiefs, you lost a whole lot of money. If you put money on tails for the coin toss, you would have won a little bit of money. But head over there, support the sponsors of the show. BetUS, thank you so much for sponsoring the channel. Wembayana, all in on Tet McMillan. Yes, dude's massive, huge wingspan, catches like friggin' everything. I'm very much on board with Tet. I like him a lot. There is talk that the Saints may move on from Derek Carr for Spencer Rattler, so he could be an option for a trade. Yeah, what are you giving up for him, right? Like, I don't know if Carr is necessarily the best option either. I like Carr too. I think personality-wise, he's a lot more fun. But he gets hurt too. I can't believe we're back to this. By the way, I hate that I just typed that. We aren't winning games. Any of these guys will lose time. Oh, come on, Tigo. Eddie says Ryan has never watched Fields play. No, I've watched Fields play. I understand he's not like a good quarterback, but let's go a different route. Why not? Running quarterback and just try to win games. What position should we draft at 7? If we draft tonight, what position? Wide receiver, Tet McMillan. That's my answer. I'm sticking with it. Rodgers Truthers thought we was all the way just changing the coach. Yeah, it felt like it was Rodgers' final game. I still think there's a pretty decent shot he retires. Unless there's a team out there that says like, hey, you're our guy for next year, which I feel like could be the Steelers. Oh, see, now you're making fun of me. Ryan wants a fast processor in Fields. Yeah, no. If I'm drafting a guy and committing long-term, yes, I want a fast processor. Fields is a 1-year contract. That's a different story. Matt, I'd watch Taylor for a year. I'm thinking Glenn could be a very good head coach. I'm fine with Tyrod Taylor. I just don't think he's going to stay healthy for a full season. That's more my concern. So I think you have to bring in someone else other than Travis. If Travis is your backup option and your second-string quarterback, I think you probably have a problem. The greatest franchise in sports, Pittsburgh, sat Fields when he was 4-0. The guy was brutal. The defense won those games, and us haven't made the playoffs in 14 years. Want him. Also remember that the Steelers have been dog shit in terms of quarterbacks too. Like, aside from Big Ben, they have not had a good run. So I'm not entirely sure they're the model of like smart quarterback decision making. But I understand what you're talking about. I think you do have to take note of Fields being benched for Russ when he was, 4-0. Hey, Tigo making fun of me. Bite me, Tigo. It's all right. JD is working with the Canadian curling team. Probably get some good trades for him. Can you imagine having Justin Fields and Jalen Milroe on the same team? I can't. I don't know if that's going to happen. God, Milroe would be fun. The hand size scares me, though. I'll say that. That honestly, of anything, the hand size is like the part that gets me the most, because that means more fumbles, more like potential interceptions for like a loose hand throwing a football. I don't know. The small hand thing scares me when you got a DN trying to club your throwing arm consistently. I am in Florida, and Jordan is looking great from his injury. He is coming along better than expected, and we are all going to hear good things soon. I just don't think you gamble that much on it. I feel like if you sign someone like Fields, it gives Travis a shot. That's probably the most appealing thing to me. I shouldn't say the most appealing, but that's up there on the list. Tigo, I've moved on from Aaron. I've moved on. Aaron is gone. Just don't pretend that there is a good quarterback available. There isn't. I'm on board with Tigo. I think you kind of have to set your expectations much lower. Not that they were probably going to be very high with Rodgers back, but I think you definitely have to adjust expectations accordingly. More of a lost year with Rodgers, though. I feel like the detriment of what Rodgers could potentially bring to a new regime in terms of like going on McAfee and undermining the coach. Like, I don't know if his personality is the one I'd necessarily want a young quarterback to soak up. I do think he was the best quarterback for us to have success for next season, but look, I think there was plenty of times this year that I was rooting for, like, not rooting, but I was kind of hoping Tyrod would come in and we'd see a little bit more of him. While I understand we need players and looking forward to draft night, I'm hoping the coaching staff does a turnaround, similar to how Detroit turned its franchise around. Yeah, I think you're going to see guys brought in from Detroit and from Denver. I think you're going to see a methodical. I think they are probably going to take a quarterback in this draft with the potential of being able to move off it. I don't think quarterback happens at 7. I don't think so. Kyle says, Milroe has upside, just can't take him around 1. He isn't there yet. He needs to sit another year and learn. Yeah, but if he can be the guy for the next 10 years, that pick at 7 would be justified. I would prefer to go receiver if Tet's there. If you're in a situation where it's like Will Johnson and I can't even say that. I want best player available at 7 right now. I can't really figure out quarterback at 7. That doesn't feel like a good move. Would you tell your starting quarterback that you're paying that he's not going back in because you have a kid that played a few good games? That's what happened in Pittsburgh. Yeah. Yeah, it sucks. You think you could get a guy like Milton or McKee and focus on the running game with a manager under center? McKee would be the guy to get from Philadelphia because at least it's out of conference. Milton's not getting traded from the Patriots to the Jets. That would be a silly thing for them to do. Matt Stafford is possible, but I think he will be a Jag. That would be wild. Are you considering like a Stafford for Trevor Lawrence trade? I feel like Stafford to the Vikings makes sense. Stafford to the Titans makes sense. Stafford to the to the Steelers makes sense. To the Giants would make sense. I mean, maybe to the Jets. How much are you going to have to give up to get him? Glenn sat Rodgers down and said, I'm the captain now. That's probably how that went down. Awesome LA says, I will say even if it's from a great source, it is just speculation and a lot can change over a month. This feels very definitive. And it does fall in line with how I believe Woody Johnson feels about Rodgers. I know for a fact that Woody did want to pull Rodgers after the Denver game, not just because of the Deanna Rossini commercial, the Deanna Rossini article, but because I know someone who knows Nathaniel Hackett, and that was 110% said. So I would just be surprised if Rodgers did come back at this point. Lay off the rookie quarterbacks. Get the best player in the draft. My pick would be the tight end from Penn State. If we take Tyler Warren at 7, I'm going to be upset. I really don't want to see Tyler Warren. The only entertainment value I'll get out of Tyler Warren at 7 is like the Bowers boys are going to lose their fucking minds. That might be worth it in and of itself. And that's like, I think Warren's a good player. Like, ultimately, you just want to draft a good player at your pick and not draft a bust. But like, I do not want tight end at 7. I very much do not want that. F this quarterback talk. The real question is Andy Reid announcing he's retiring and handing the team to Spagnuolo? He's not retiring. He's got Patrick Mahomes basically right off into the sunset as far as like winning percentage goes or whatever. He's going to blow. I don't know what the record is offhand or where Reed is, but I would imagine he just hangs around with Mahomes. He'll own the all-time wins record. Eddie, saying Fields was brutal is just wrong. Go look at his numbers. He was great, but no, he had 10 total touchdowns, 1 pick in his 6 starts, completing 65%. Again, not great, but more than serviceable. I think the culture and the leadership are 2 of the things that really stand out to me about Fields. And I feel like if you are in the, if our organization is like, okay, 2025 draft class for quarterbacks doesn't feel good. Let's reload. And you want a quarterback to oversee that with Tyrod and compete with Travis, I think Fields is your guy. I think that would be the move. And it's not a high, you're not putting a lot of money into it. You're not putting draft picks into it. So like relatively low risk. Can you get me an interview with AG? I mean, it would be very cool to do that. I'm not a big interviewer of people, so it's just not something I find myself good at. I like having conversations with people, but I don't know if I would be a good interview to watch. Ryan got sources in One Jets Drive. I got sources close to One Jets Drive. I had one inside that I was able to understand some information for a while there. But I did have one with Nathaniel Hackett, and that was, I heard some crazy stories. One I'm not super thrilled about that I've mentioned briefly on here, but hopefully this goes in the right direction now. Joshua, what about getting career backup Cooper Rush or Tyler Heinicke start for us this season and drafting a quarterback next year? I don't really like, unless you think one of those guys could have a bounce back kind of career similar to how I feel about Fields, I don't think I would do it. Fields to me just feels like the grittier guy. Rodgers will be in the playoffs, and we will have bags on our heads. Yeah. I could totally see it. I could see him going to the Vikings or the Steelers and get into the playoffs, like no problem. I think we're in a different part of our team building right now than needing Rodgers. If you could do a redo right now, would you still draft our left tackle over Bowers? I would say it's annoying because I wanted, the year we took Will McDonald, I wanted the left tackle or the receiver. And then we wound up going with the edge rusher, which wound up being a better decision. Like Will McDonald looks like a stud. And then I do think Bowers is a stud, but I think last year would have been a waste of a season because we wouldn't have used him with Rodgers. And finding a left tackle that we think is the left tackle of the future in Olu is so much more important than a tight end. Even though that tight end in Bowers may end up being like the best tight end ever. Yeah, I don't know. It's a tough call. I would not have been. I thought Bowers was going to be the pick last year. I really did. It seemed like that was the direction they were kind of trending. Joe S., I'm going to laugh when nobody signs Rodgers. Honestly, that's what I am hoping for. I'm hoping we don't see the Aaron. I don't want to see like Brett Favre 2.0 in Minnesota where he goes to an NFC Championship game and just tears everyone apart. And it's like, man, that's what the Jets should have had. Because imagine having Brett Favre from the Vikings those last 2 years on the Jets teams that went to the AFC Championship game. The Jets would have been unstoppable. I want T-Mac or Carter at 7. Would not be mad about boost O-tackle at 7 or best O-tackle at 7 either. Yeah, Carter or T-Mac would be my 2 top guys. You could throw in Mason Graham on that list too. And then to a lesser extent, Will Johnson. It depends on the injuries. I don't know if his injury was like a nagging one or if it was more of like a Michigan was not in it this year. So like, let's rest him. You'd have to know more about the medicals, I guess. Makai's a Super Bowl champ. That's insane. Even Barkley, LOI, agree. get ready for a 2-14 ride. Yeah, look, it's entirely. I don't think I had us pegged for 3 wins next year. Like I looked at our schedule, I was like, or maybe it was a 5-win max. I don't think next year's a winning season. I would be very surprised if we had a good year next year. I'm setting my expectations way low. We're gonna pick up a vet. He'll have a decent year, and then we'll give him a stupid multi-year contract. Oh, that would suck. That would be really annoying. How do you feel about Quinnen going off social media? I think that's fine. Honestly, if I didn't do the Jet stuff, I don't know how much I'd be on social media anymore anyway. A lot of my own personal social media I have stopped using and only focus on the Jet side of stuff just from like a mental health perspective. It's just fucking super annoying. So I understand Quinn hopping off. And I think someone probably told him, like, you should probably not do that. You should probably not be saying these things right now. I'd rather have Daniel Jones over Justin Fields for a year. I don't know if I'd say that. Ryan, make a list of quarterbacks who could be quarterback next season and make a poll. I'm not going to hang around for that long at this point because we're going to cut this off at an hour and a half. But I will have a list of my maybe I'll do top 5 quarterbacks that I want to see next year. Maybe not including the draft. I don't know if I can do 5 though. 5 might be tough. Maybe I'll just say like rookie or something in there. Ryan, what would a trade package to move up and get Cam Ward or Sanders look like? That more than I want to give up. I don't want to do that because that would involve giving up the 2026 first. And I think even with a good rookie quarterback, that could be a top 5 pick next year. So I'm not moving the 2026 first for anything. It's not happening. We would have Garrett Wilson and Brock Bowers and Breece Hall. Yes. I thought Bowers was a stud. I would have been fine with it. I thought Olu was going to go before the Jets, though, too. So there's that. I liked a few of the tackles, though. I understand why they went tackle. After Pickens went down, Russell couldn't do much. I loved Pickens coming out. Pickens was going to be my receiver in that draft. I'm happy we got Garrett. Garrett's way better, but I'm a big Pickens guy. What position y'all take in the first round? We talked about that. Definitely going to be, for me, wide receiver. Hear me out. How about trading this and next year's first and Sauce for Joe Burrow? Listen, I don't believe in any of the quarterbacks in this draft. I doubt will be in the running for Arch. Why not? Yes, I would do that in a heartbeat. If you're telling me I could get Joe Burrow for this year's first, next year's first, and Sauce, I think that's the move. I don't think that's remotely in play because why would the Bengals do that? I mean, Burrow may have had a season. Burrow could have been like MVP if they won games. Burrow's a great quarterback. If you're considering, I mean, that's like giving up 4 firsts, which is crazy. Because if you consider Sauce like a first and a third or 2 firsts or whatever, plus 2 firsts, like that's a shit ton of assets. But man, if you could tell me you're getting like a prime young quarterback, like I'm on board. Oh, you should stop, Nightbot. Yeah, I have to go into a different program to stop Nightbot, so you just gotta put up with it. It's all right. I'll do call-ins. I'll do call-ins tomorrow. Arch Manning's not coming out in 2027 or 2028, not 2026. No, he may be coming out in 2026. He doesn't have to, but he's gonna. It depends how much his NIL deal is. You'd have to be offered a crazy ton of money. Because realistically, he's going to go top 5. And if you're going top 5, you're setting yourself up for like a $25 million contract. So I could totally see Arch come out next year. And I think Cliff Kingsbury is going to be his coach. Whoever that winds up, whatever team winds up with the first pick is going to get Cliff Kingsbury and Arch Manning. Yeah, Tigo. Dude, I'm on the same wavelength. If Cincinnati would do that, yes, 100%. Never going to happen, though. Never going to happen. We went from Fields to Joe Burrow. Yeah, look, we're hopping around this chat a little bit. It's okay. Joshua, my top 5 quarterbacks: Justin Fields, Jameis Winston, Jackson Dart, Jalen Milroe, Kyle McCord. I feel like I probably need to include rookies. I don't think there's enough tradable quarterbacks or free agent quarterbacks for me to make a top 5 list, like legitimately. I don't hate that list, though. So what's the reports? I haven't seen it yet, but O'Leary put a video saying the Jets are moving on from Rodgers. Is that true? Yeah, it seems like it. Feels like it, based on Jay Glazer's report. Plus, coming out early gets you a second NFL contract faster. Yes. Any day 2 quarterbacks in the draft, Milroe or Ewers? I would take Milroe over Ewers 100 times over 100. I don't want Ewers at all. He's not the guy for me. Hennessy says Dart in round 2. I don't think Dart makes it to round 2. I think he's going to go first. Not first. I think he was first round. I'm starting my own show recently. What I got to do to get a show with you? I got to have more free time. Honestly, I have no free time. I was doing so much work with Richie the last year or two on the Jets roundtables, and man, I'm in a new job and have 2 young kids, so I do not have free time, unfortunately. So maybe collab at some point, but not anything in the near future. Q Rob, stop it with the Burrow trade scenarios. Bengals are not. Yeah, no, that's silly season. Clearly the Chiefs are done with Mahomes. After this mollywhopping, we should trade him. Second round pick. Yeah, yep. McCord is the only chance on that list, and he's a long shot. McCord's interesting because he's at Syracuse and could have been at Ohio State and could have probably won a championship with that team this year. I would be on board. Can you imagine how much more of a prick Sirianni will be? He fits right for Philly. It is what it is. Philly's a whole city of pricks. 3 snowballs at Santa. Anyone else not showing up for work tomorrow? Yeah, I got work tomorrow. I'm showing up to work because I won $500 in the office pool. I get to rub it in everyone's faces. Still hurts to see Rodgers era leave. Yeah. The last 2 years were just so painful. I'm okay moving on. Milroe can't play with cold with infant hands. Yeah, that's my concern. You know what was good? I squinted enough. The Jets. If I squinted enough, I thought the Jets won a Super Bowl. Yeah, we had enough Jet players that were on the Eagles, and they were green. So there's that. Telecoin fit, not the same Rico, but you could argue Fields was better than Burrow in college. Manning and Ewers were split sometimes. Why not keep Manning even when Ewers got back healthy? I don't really know the answer to that. I don't watch enough Texas football to understand why they would have kept going with Ewers over Manning. If it was just like they knew Arch was the guy next year and they're like, hey, let's just ride it out with Ewers. It's kind of a weird thing to do, but I don't know. You think Pete Carroll is going to go after Geno Smith? I think Geno could totally be out of Seattle this year. I could see it. If you're a stat guy, get McCord. Says have. Yeah, his body of work at Syracuse was wild. Lots of touchdowns. His win over Cam Ward I thought was impressive. I have no read on where this guy's going to go in the draft. If he's there in the 3rd or later, fine. Jake. What's up, Jake? Very upset. Get ready to cover a 4-3 season, baby. I mean, I'll be honest, even with Rodgers, I don't think we were winning many games. I think he gave us the best opportunity to win games. I'm not sure. I'm torn. Right? I feel like he would have undermined Glenn And I feel like it would have been tough to move on from the Saleh, Douglas, Hackett regime with Rodgers still here. I think Rodgers is easily the best quarterback we could have plugged in for our offense for next year. And with a competent defense that I think you would have been able to build through the draft and free agency, and Devontae coming back, and, you know, everyone else, you know, kind of coming back around for another year, I think you could have made it to the playoffs. I don't know if you win a Super Bowl, though. And I think that while that sounds silly to like, oh, you know, we should be talking about a Super Bowl here, even though we haven't made the playoffs in 14 seasons, I think the reset of culture is probably the ultimate reason why they did that. And Jake, you and I have talked. I was on board with Rodgers coming back. I was maybe a little bit more wishy-washy on caring one way or the other, but I do think that the culture was probably the reason why they decided to move on from Rodgers. Joshua, what about Trey Lance or Mac Jones? No, Trey Lance has been hot garbage, and Mac Jones kicks people in the dick. I think that guy's a prick, and I don't want anything to do with him. Could you interview Braidman? No, I don't want to interview Braidman. If I interviewed Braidman, I'd be spitting nails and why he tackled that kick returner, even though Lawrence hasn't really done much in this league either. Pick a guy: Justin Fields, Jameis Winston, Cooper Rush. Draft a rookie. Who else? I mean, rookie has the most upside, right? Because we haven't seen them in the NFL. Cooper Rush, not doing it for me. Jameis Winston, super fun. Fields may not be a very good quarterback. Hell if I know. I don't know if any of those are good options other than drafting a rookie, but Fields to me is a cheap swing at like punting on a season that still gives you the chance of maybe not punting on a season. I think that's probably where I'm at on that. Texas had guaranteed the folks paying Ewers NIL he'd play a percentage of plays. Okay, so that's how it goes. That makes sense. I see Pete Carroll going after Russell Wilson. Was Pete there when they got rid of Russ? Or was Pete already gone by that point? I don't know when they got their new coach. I was with your mother, John. She says go to bed. Oh, geez. Oh, I see what John said. That wasn't very nice. T-Real says, I'm betting 8+ wins. You are going to lose money, my friend. I think. 8 wins feels like a very good season for us next year, and I don't know if I see that happening. J.J. McCarthy or bust. He's not going anywhere. He's staying in Minnesota. Ryan, you are wasting talent on this team. What? That is the issue. Well, yeah, I think that's a huge issue. That's why I think you have to be competitive. And I don't know what the best route to be competitive is. I don't know if it's Fields. It's probably drafting a rookie if you could identify one that could give you a Bo Nix level like boost. I don't think you're getting a Jaden Daniels level boost for where we're at. But if you could identify a quarterback in this class that you feel confident enough in, that's the best route to go, while having a bridge in like Tyrod Taylor that could hopefully play an entire season. Like I don't want to see our rookie play at all if we draft one. Five wins with Rodgers, 4 wins with anyone else makes sense. I mean, I'll be honest, like I don't think we're winning many games with or without Rodgers. I just don't. Could I have seen a playoff berth? Sure, everything clicks. I thought we were getting to a Super Bowl one of these last 2 years, and I was clearly, sadly mistaken. So maybe we shouldn't bet on that. Pete was the one that got rid of Russ. Okay, so yeah, Russ is probably not going back there then. Who would you rather trade, Brees, Sauce, or Wilson? I don't want to trade any of them. I would revisit this question next year. I would say at the trade deadline, I would consider where these players are. I would be offering them contracts. And if some of them are like, no, we're not doing that, like I'm done being here, then I would make the trade at that point. I don't want to move Brees now for a pick that's not going to be like, I feel like if Brees leaves after next season, you could get a compensation pick in the future. I'm not trading him for less than whatever that comp pick could realistically be. Why not just tank next season for picks? I'm done losing. I'd rather trade up. I'd rather us win as many games as possible, sit in like the 5-win to 7-win, best case scenario situation come out. If it plays out that way, and trade draft picks to go up and get your guy at that point. Because I think you can build your team this year through free agency and the draft. You're going to have a ton of cap space next year, and you're going to have draft picks. So if you're only giving up, I don't say only, but let's say you're giving up 2 first-round picks, 3 first-round picks, whatever it is, to move up from, 10 to 12, if that's where you end up in like a quote-unquote worst-case non-tanking season. You still have second and third-round picks that you can round out your roster with. So I'm team trade up for a quarterback more than I am tanking for a quarterback. Boys and girls, we've hit the hour and 35-minute mark in this show, so I do want to just recognize the sponsor of the channel, BetUS. Get a 150% bonus match on your first deposit up to $2,000 with code YouTube150. Head over there, tell them that you're supporting the channel and you want to help make them make some money, help you make some money, help them sponsor the channel, helps me out over here. If you took the Chiefs -2, joke's on you. They lost by a little bit more than being 2-point favorites. And tails would have won you. Tails was the coin flip. Boys and girls, it's been a lot of fun hanging out with you tonight. I'm tired. Gonna go take a shower, nice long drink, and then I'm gonna rub it in all my coworkers' faces that I won $500 on that friggin' touchdown and 2-point conversion. It's gonna be great. Boys and girls, I'll see you tomorrow. We'll talk a little call-in show action and get some more fresh thoughts on all that. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. Hit that like button if you've enjoyed the stream here. I'll see you tomorrow.
One, two, three.